mayor of Las Vegas. As mayor, we will offset the off-season by diversifying our economy, bringing technology, high-paying jobs, and strengthening our entertainment industry. In order to tackle this issue of homelessness, we need new money because the budget will never be enough. Therefore, we will legalize prostitution and tax money with flow. Today, go to our website, Cola, K-O-L-A, colaformayor.com, and my phone number, 725-263-2660. Support our campaign and donate today. Again, colaformayor.com at 725-263-2660. My name is Kola Akimbade, and I'm running for mayor of Las Vegas.
Did you know that 99% of air conditioning issues start with airflow issues? Well, guess what? Pioneer Air has your back. They've been operating for 20 years in the industry within the Las Vegas area, large enough to handle all your air conditioning and heating needs, but small enough to know your first name. Pioneer Air focuses on preventative care, much like wellness checks for humans. They believe in wellness checks for air conditioning and heating systems to extend the life of the system you own. So what are you waiting for? Schedule your wellness check with Pioneer Air today. The number to call is 702-831-4840. Here's the best news. Mention this ad and you'll receive 10% off. Call Pioneer Air today. 702-831-4840. That number again, 702-831-4840.
Nevada is ranked 48 of 50 states in public school efficiency. Hi, I am Progressive Democrat Eva Olivia Chase, the public school candidate. Cynthia Gonzalez voted for $480 million of public money for charter schools and baseball stadiums. Public money for public schools. Vote and support Eva Olivia Chase for Nevada State Assembly District 16.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a beautiful, very hot Thursday in the Valley. Thank you so much for joining us. And I also would hope that you would join me because I'm there like all the time. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. You show your TAM card every Tuesday this month. You get a free $50 in slot play. You can't beat that. And, well, I hear a lot of people complaining about gas prices. They're giving out $1,500 in gas every week, every Thursday in their electronic drum. You have a chance to win a $100 gas card. They give out 15 of them every week for earning just 200 points while playing your favorite machine. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Check them out. We've been talking about today being the 80-year anniversary D-Day operation, which took place on June 6, 1944. Over 10,000 people lost their lives. So while it should be a day where we should be remembering those who lost their lives and the heroes that day, who brought together the land, air, and sea forces of the Allied armies, what we should be doing is talking about that, which is what Joe Biden was doing, which is what so many on the left are doing today, and some on the right. I played you what Tom Hanks had to say today. So many on the extreme right take the opportunity to mock Joe Biden because he took a 5-minute bathroom break with Jill Biden in the middle of the ceremony. And somehow that's so disrespectful to people that were there. Yet when Donald Trump says, I don't respect him because he was captured, or calls them suckers and losers, they have no problem with that. But God forbid if the president of the United States takes a 5-minute bathroom break, all hell breaks loose within the far right going after Joe Biden. Folks, you just can't make this stuff up. All right, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. And again, that number to call in is 702-221-7283 is the number to call. All right, who do we have first up here on the line? We have Rob. Rob, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind? Rob, are you there? Did we lose Rob? All right. Well, I guess we lost Rob. By the way, I'm looking at Ted Cruz's social media account. I just wanted to add that the despicable comments that he's putting up in talking about Joe Biden. The Ted Cruzes, the Marco Rubios, those that are on the far right that have brown-nosed Donald Trump for years, they'll be the first people to go on social media and mock Joe Biden.
It's actually a good one. It says at Joe Biden honoring our heroes at D-Day.
I'm shocked.
Nothing bad.
I'm shocked. To be honest with you, I am absolutely shocked that Ted Cruz may be the only far right-wing MAGA that went on social media and didn't say anything negative about Joe Biden. I'll be honest with you. I'm shocked at that one. I really am. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Now let's go to John. John, what's up?
Hey, great show.
Thank you.
Keep pushing out that Trump felony stuff.
Oh, I sense a little bit of sarcasm in John's voice.
Well, it's just helping them. You and I both know that.
Are you being sarcastic or are you being serious?
Well,
okay, so you're being sarcastic. John, I can tell when somebody's sarcastic. I'm a little smarter to understand it.
Perfect.
And that's okay. I'm happy, John, to have a conversation with you. I'm happy to do that, John. But, John, why not just be a little honest when you call into this show instead of being sarcastic? Are you not capable of doing that?
I don't want you to have a tantrum like
I'm
you
not
do.
here. You see, when people are not honest and they're sarcastic,
here we go.
That's when I get a little frustrated. Or when people are obsessed with me and they talk about me every day and they're jealous because they call in the middle of their workday and they're obsessed with me. John, can you be honest with me? You pleasure yourself to me in your room at night every day, don't you? Can you be honest with me, John? John, you're obsessed with me.
Show.
John, answer the question. Let's have a conversation. John, are you obsessed with me? How many times a day do you think about Brian Shapiro? Please answer the question directly.
Great show.
John, John, please answer the question directly. Exactly. And the coward hangs up the phone. The coward hangs up the phone because John thinks about me nonstop 24 hours a day. But he's not smart enough to have any sort of intellectual conversation. So he calls into this show, keeps saying Donald Trump is a felon, but he's not saying it to be serious. He's saying it because he's sarcastic, because he doesn't think that's important. There are people like that listen to the show, and that's fine. They're obsessed with me. But then when I ask him a direct question, he's a coward and he won't answer it. Hey, John, you're a coward. You're obsessed with me. The answer is yes. You probably think about me 100 times a day, and you probably pleasure yourself to a poster of me in your bedroom before you go to sleep at night. Thank you. Great call, John. Great call. Great call, John. Great call. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, the number to call, 702-221-7283. I did mention real quickly about the types of vice presidential picks that Donald Trump could be choosing. And it's literally down to like 6 or 7 people. I can tell you right now it was going to be Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem was going to be Donald Trump's VP. And the reason why he did not choose her is because of that whole puppy murderous scandal that took place. Now, if you ask me who is Donald Trump going to pick, well, you could ask me 2 different questions, and I'll answer both of them. Who do I think he's going to pick, and who do I think would help him the most? Who do I think he will pick? I think it's going to be J.D. Vance, because he's not going to overshadow Donald Trump, and I think J.D. Vance is the guy that Donald Trump wants on his side. Even though J.D. Vance has said some disloyal things in the past, I think that's who he picks. Now, who do I think he would help him the most? Nikki Haley. Now, I'm not sure Nikki Haley would be his vice president, but I think if he chose somebody like Nikki Haley, that would help him tremendously, as a word that he would use. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he's on the list. I really don't. I don't think that at all. These are really strange times we're living in. And, last night I went to a Hispanics in Politics event here in Las Vegas. It was a wonderful event. My friend TK invited me to. I had a great time. And I met all sorts of different people. These were Republicans and Democrats that were at this event, but they were normal people. They were decent people. They were educated people. They were friendly. They were nice. And I said to myself, it's so nice to be in an event like this where there are so many normal people to talk to. Yes, there are normal Republicans out there and Democrats. You have to look a little harder than usual in 2024, but mark my words, they are out there. They are out there. So I go to this event last night, and I met some people. Shelley Berkeley, who is a Democrat running for mayor of the great city of Las Vegas. Her and others that are running for judges. And This was an event that was put on by an organization, Hispanics in Politics. It is an organization that takes in both sides, both parties. An independent organization. We need more organizations like that in this country, especially in this time when we are so divided as a country. We need more people like that. And the bottom line here, we're all going to have a decision to make in November. I've told you what my decision is going to be. It's a very easy decision for me. But the bottom line here is, most of this country does not want to see Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. And to be honest with you, I'm one of them. I'd like to see younger people running for office, but it's an easy decision for me. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, for one moment, hypothetically speaking, let's just say Joe Biden had an accident today. I'd be hard-pressed to find people out there that this has never happened to before. If, in fact, this is true, which I don't think it is, there's no evidence to prove that, but just hypothetically speaking, I'll go along with these stupid MAGAs for a moment. Let's just say Joe Biden had an accident and he had to go to the restroom. Let's say that did happen for a moment. I will gladly choose somebody that once in a while has an accident like that than somebody who is a 34-count convicted felon. I will gladly choose somebody like Joe Biden, who is not a young spring chicken, over somebody who is a liable sexual abuser. I will choose somebody like Joe Biden over somebody who attacks Gold Star families, attacks our brave men and women in uniform, calling theirs suckers and losers. I will absolutely take that. I will take Joe Biden, even if he did have an accident. By the way, there's no evidence to prove that. The man took a bathroom break. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, 702-221-7283. Let's go to Barbara. Barbara's next on PTL. What's going on, Barbara? Hi, Barbara. Are you there?
Reading. Yeah, I am.
Hi, Barbara. Go right ahead.
I was just listening to you, Brian, and I'm reading some of that BS that people are scrolling through, talking about brainless Biden and these people are sick. Why do they even troll your program?
I think they're obsessed with me, just like John, who just called into the show. I can tell you, Barbara, there are people like John out there who have no life of their own, who go on social media and call into my show. There's dozens of them who are obsessed with me. And notice how he wouldn't answer the question when I said, how many times do you think of Brian Shapiro every day? It's probably 50 or 100 times. But notice how he wouldn't answer that question, because they're losers, because they have no life of their own, and they want to attack.
And they're following a loser.
A rapist. They're following a rapist is what they're following. And these are the...
Yeah, he's a criminal. He's a criminal. And all these people are all guarding him like he's only running to stay out of jail. Mm-hmm. That's why he's running.
Yeah.
Look at when when the DOJ, or not DOJ, but this one that just won his case, what the heck's his name, that just won against him, those 34 counts. That was December of, what was that, 2022?
Correct. Yep.
January, February 2023, he announced he's running. So he knew that was coming.
Yeah.
So
there is no question. Here's something else, Barbara, to what you're referring to, and you're absolutely right. You know, Trump for years has said mail-in ballots are terrible. It's fraud. We can't have a free and fair election. And now all of a sudden he's putting out videos because he's so desperate, telling people to mail-in vote for him. I thought mail-in voting was fraud and you can't have a free and fair election. The only reason why he's doing this because he's desperate to win, because he knows it's his last chance to probably keep him out of jail in November.
Yes.
That's why.
That's why. And all these people are so blind. He committed all these crimes.
Well,
look at the documents.
They're stupid. They're stupid. What they want to do is they want to continue to defend Donald Trump. They want to continue to defend a liable sexual abuser and a 34-count felon. That's what they want to do, Barbara. And I appreciate.
Okay, Brian. The next time I call you, I seen some statistics a few months back, and it said that the average Trump follower, it has a low IQ or of under high school.
Well, that's not shocking. That's not shocking.
And I'm like, that's true. That is true. But I'll have to find those statistics and quote them to you.
That's got to be 100% true. Just look at the Lauren Boeberts and the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Jim Jordans and the biggest MAGA supporters out there. They're very stupid people. I'm not saying everybody that supports Donald Trump is stupid, but certainly the extremists are. 702-221-7283, 702-221-7283. Let's go to JD, who's next up on PTL.
I have to respond to that last caller. Unverified claims of people. You're a broken record every day. You say the same things over and over and over about Donald Trump.
Yet you listen every day and you call in. So what does that say about you?
I don't.
Oh, you don't.
Okay.
Day. Then why did you call in? Then why'd you call in if you don't like what I'm doing? Why are you listening? Why'd you call in? Why'd you call in?
Why do you?
Why did you? No, I won't. No, I won't. The first, JD, here's the thing. If you want to have a conversation with me,
if you shut the fuck up.
You shut up. You shut up. You despicable turd. This guy has been calling into my show for years. He's been listening to my show for years. And then he starts the conversation by trying to insult me. You're a broken record. You talk about the same thing over and over and over again. You're a broken record. This guy's been calling into my show for years. He's despicable. Yes, the JD who calls into this show is a racist turd. And he's a wannabe radio host. That's exactly who. In fact, he showed up to one of my remotes. He's a fanboy of Brian Shapiro, but he plays it off like he's not. You're a broken record over and over again. Oh, really? I'm a broken record. What about the guy who you support who says the election was rigged? It's a two-tier justice system. It's the DOJ. The Democrats are all rats. They're coming out to get me. It's election interference. I won the 2020 election. Oh, you don't have a problem with that broken record, do you? You see, because when I repeat things over and over again, they're true. Hence, Donald Trump is a liable sexual abuser. Proven true. Donald Trump is a 34-count felon. Proven true. But when your orange turd leader repeats things over and over and over again that are lies, you don't have a problem with that. See, it's not that I'm a broken record, JD. You just don't like to hear truth and facts about the idiots who you support. That's what you don't like. Let me repeat it once again. Ladies and gentlemen, this is for JD, the racist turd who calls into this show every day and is obsessed with me. Hey, JD, Donald Trump is a rapist. Donald Trump is a liable sexual abuser. Donald Trump lost the popular vote in 2016 and 2020. Donald Trump cheats on all of his wives. Donald Trump dodged the military. Donald Trump claimed he had bone spurs. Donald Trump said that John McCain didn't respect him because he was captured. Hey, JD, did you like that? That was just for you. That was for nobody else. Hey, JD, guess what? I'm going to repeat that over and over again. Goodbye, broken record. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Mary, who's next up on PTL. What's up, Mary? Hi, Mary. Go right ahead. There's something about Mary. Let's go to Vivian.
My mother taught me that an empty wagon make loud noise. Your last caller was an empty wagon.
You're right about that. I don't disagree with you. By the way, that's a guy. He starts the conversation by trying to insult me, and he expects that I'm going to keep him on the show. If anybody disagrees with me and they want to have a conversation with me, I'm happy to do that. But this moron calls into the show, as he does on a regular basis, and listens to me because I've grown on him like a fungus. He's obsessed with me. But then he thinks I'm going to treat him with respect when he starts the conversation by insulting me. That ain't going to happen. I'll tell you that right now.
Yes, I wouldn't let it. It seemed like you got it going on over there.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You know, anybody that can take on some Donald Trumpers,
Yep.
Rumpers, they're pretty good.
Well, where are you,
good.
Lovely lady? Where are you calling from, by the way?
I'm calling from down in the South.
Ah, okay. All right. Great food down there. Great food down there. Very accommodating and nice people over there. And it is nice to hear from you, and I appreciate you calling in, dear. Thank you so much. And don't worry, I will go after these MAGAs that call into this show every single day. They're obsessed with me, but I'm not going to put up with the BS. All right, we'll take a couple more quick calls, then we got to get to our guest who's waiting. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Vivian. Vivian's next up on PTL. Hi, Vivian. What's going on?
How you doing today?
I'm doing good.
I
What's
have
on your mind?
no problem. Oh, I have no problem with you repetitively saying it over and over again, every bad thing that's about Donald Trump, because you're not speaking to the MAGAs, because they're not going to listen. You're speaking to these on the fence people, which I have no idea why they're on the fence. There's no, it's a choice that you have to make, whether you want democracy or you want to be autocrat.
Hey, Vivian,
there is no choice.
I agree. Hey, Vivian, I'll say one thing, though. This is for JD. I'm sorry. Hey, JD, Donald Trump is a convicted felon, and he's a liable sexual abuser. I'm sorry. That was for JD. I'm going to be a broken record, and I'm going to say that, every 10 minutes. I'm sorry, Vivian. Go ahead.
No, that's fine, because like I said, I have no issue with you repetitively saying it, because it's not sinking into the MAGAs. They are lost cause as far as I'm concerned. But we need to get to these people who are in the middle for whatever reason. I still haven't figured that out. They need to open up their ears, open up their eyes, and listen to what's being said so that we can get these MAGAs out of our government.
Yeah, no, I well said, and I'm completely in agreement with you, and we have to defeat them at the ballot box in November, and I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Arlene, who's next up on PTL. What's up, Arlene?
Hey, what's up, Brian? They're getting to us, but I just want to say, first of all, Donald Trump was convicted of 34 counts, and he is a felon. So
Wait, hold on.
That out of the way.
Hold on. Let me repeat that again for JD, because I want to sound like a broken record. Hey, JD, who called in. Arlene is 150% correct, but JD, I'm going to repeat it because I'm not sure you heard it. The man who you support, Cheeto Jesus, the orange turd, is a 34-count convicted felon. Did you hear what Arlene just said? Get the MAGA wax out of your ears. He's also a liable sexual abuser. I would call him a rapist.
Thank you.
Because the judge, that's the way he described the case, as rape. So, JD, I hope you heard that. I hope we don't sound like a broken record, Arlene.
Oh, no. What are we going to do now? But I want to take a minute. I want to take a minute to honor our veterans, especially of World War II. They're, becoming fewer and fewer today. One was on his way to the activities and had a medical emergency and sadly died.
I'm sorry.
He was over 100 years old.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Didn't know him, heard it, but I think that we should share that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I wish everybody would do that, quite frankly. I wish I didn't have to talk about these right-wing turds that are trying to mock Joe Biden today. I thought he did a nice job today, made a good speech in honoring those. And yet we have to look at these turds on the far right who want to, put out conspiracy theories that somehow Joe Biden pooped his pants. They have nothing better to say.
Well, hey, it could happen to anybody. But also a thing that's really concerning me besides the election. I mean, there's, 101 or 150 different things we could gripe on.
Yep.
Today they selected two knuckleheads to this very important committee, Ronnie Jackson, and I forget the other guy.
Ronnie Jackson.
And
there's a guy with no credibility. Yep. The drunk himself, the lush. Yeah.
Right,
Yep.
exactly.
Mhm.
So we do have lots of things to be concerned about between now and the election and the election.
By the way, Ronnie Jackson, the guy who showed up to the White House drunk, and no, I'm not talking about Rudy Giuliani or Judge Jeanine, the guy who showed up to the White House drunk and yelling obscenities at interns in the White House. Yep, I'm not surprised. These are who the Republicans latch on to.
I don't believe that there are people on the fence. I really don't. I think they're just not telling us who they're going to vote
agree with you 150%. I've been talking about that a lot. There are a lot of Republicans out there that are afraid to say it aloud, but come November, they ain't voting for Donald Trump, and I'm with you, dear, and thank you so much for calling in. You make a great point, and I'm with you 150%. It's good to hear from you. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We'll take some more phone calls on the other side. I do have a very special guest that I'm inviting in here. His name is Dave Lozano. Have you ever gotten any campaign texts? Have you ever been on any of those? Well, we got a lot of new technology here in 2024. Dave Lozano from Corto Media is going to be joining us next. How text messages can put some politicians over the top. We'll talk a little bit about how that helped Barack Obama back in the day and how's it going to be working come November. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. It's PTL right here on KSHP. Did you know that 99% of air conditioning issues start with airflow issues? Well, guess what? Pioneer Air has your back. They've been operating for 20 years in the industry within the Las Vegas area, large enough to handle all your air conditioning and heating needs, but small enough to know your first name. Pioneer Air focuses on preventative care, much like wellness checks for humans. They believe in wellness checks for air conditioning and heating systems to extend the life of the system you own. So what are you waiting for? Schedule your wellness check with Pioneer Air today. The number to call is 702-831-4840. Here's the best news. Mention this ad and you'll receive 10% off. Call Pioneer Air today. 702-831-4840. That number again, 702-831-4840.
My name is Kola Akimbade. I'm running for mayor of Las Vegas. As mayor, we will offset the off-season by diversifying our economy, bringing technology, high-paying jobs, and strengthening our entertainment industry. In order to tackle this issue of homelessness, we need new money because the budget will never be enough. Therefore, we will legalize prostitution and tax money will flow. Today, go to our website, Kola, K-O-L-A, kolaformayor.com, and my phone number, 725-263-2660. Support our campaign and donate today. Again, kolaformayor.com at 725-263-2660. My name is Kola Akimbade, and I'm running for mayor of Las Vegas.
Tired of the same old date night? Craving a deeper connection with your partner? O-Box is your escape into a world of romance and passion. Each month, discover a box filled with personalized surprises, exciting activities, and a love story written just for the two of you. Ignite desire, share laughter, and make memories that last a lifetime. Your O-Box journey accumulates into a beautiful love novel. Ready to write the first thrilling chapter? Let the O-Box adventure begin. Visit our website, obox.com. That's OBOXXX.com and get started.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
Did you know that 99% of air conditioning issues start with airflow issues? Well, guess what? Pioneer Air has your back. They've been operating for 20 years in the industry within the Las Vegas area, large enough to handle all your air conditioning and heating needs, but small enough to know your first name. Pioneer Air focuses on preventative care, much like wellness checks for humans. They believe in wellness checks for air conditioning and heating systems to extend the life of the system you own. So what are you waiting for? Schedule your wellness check with Pioneer Air today. The number to call is 702-831-4840. Here's the best news. Mention this ad and you'll receive 10% off. Call Pioneer Air today. 702-831-4840. That number again, 702-831-4840.
I am Eva Olivia Chase, candidate for Nevada State Assembly District 16, Democrat with progressive ideas, including a woman's right to choose, public money for public schools, student debt relief reduction, and forgiveness. As a trans woman and a veteran, I will fight to protect the democracy of our country. Vote and support Eva Olivia Chase for Nevada State Assembly District 16.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Thursday. Sorry if I sound like a broken record, but you know, what can I do? Welcome back to the show, everybody. You could be watching on the Occupy Democrats Network. You could be watching on YouTube. We're back on YouTube, by the way. I was suspended a week because of a kooky doctor who said some things that were not true, it wasn't me. I'm always factually accurate. Come on, everybody. We're back on YouTube. We're on Twitch. We're on X. We're everywhere, and we appreciate you guys being a part of the program. You know, I think at one point or another in your life, especially if you vote, you've gotten a text message from a political candidate one way or another. Some people like it. Some people don't like it. Some people are engaging. Some people find it annoying. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. If I got a bunch of text messages from the Trump campaign right now telling me vote for Donald Trump, I'd be annoyed with that. But if I got a text message from the Joe Biden campaign that said, hey, you know, here's what Joe did today. We hope you're going to vote for him. I'd be okay with that. I'd be like, yeah, thumbs up, man. Well, the guy joining us right now, his name is Dave Lozano. He's from Corto Media, and he's one of those people that's responsible for many other things as well. You do a lot of great things, but for campaign text messages. First of all, Dave, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
You're showing me up. You're dressed really to impress, and look at me. I'm just dressed like a slob like every day. But anyway, no, I appreciate you being here, Dave. So do I have that right? Like, there are some people that are annoyed by political text messages, and then there are other people that are very engaging. And then, you know, there's really no in between.
Yeah, no, there's basically it's a matter of how you're crafting the message and did the person even request it. So you've got traditionally the spam messages. You're sitting at home, it's a Friday night, you're getting a text message, whether it's for political campaign or for a pizza order. And if you didn't sign up and it's just soliciting, it's intrusive. I think where it comes into on the political side is they don't seem to stop, and you can opt out. Then they change a phone number, and that kind of hits on the illegal spamming, which is completely different from.
That's not what you do.
No,
nothing illegal here.
100%.
Nothing illegal here. But correct me if I'm wrong, but there are a lot of reasons why Barack Obama won. But one of the big reasons that a lot of people talk about, and we were talking about this off the air, is that text message campaign, which I think went very well for Barack Obama. Tell me about it.
That was fantastic. I mean, it's still today. It's one of the biggest pushes of text message on a Friday. I mean, it was like 2.9 million text.
Wow.
We're talking back then.
Right.
Okay. And this was for his VP announcement. So this was something nobody else was doing. It was innovative. It was 26 words sent on text. And remember, this is not like an iPhone. This is people who were still using like
Were you
Samsung.
a part of that?
No.
Back then you weren't doing it.
We were not doing that. That was just, but it was something he came up with his team, and it delivered a very impactful message. And not only that, it brought more people in because they shared the message. That's the other side of texting. It's not just the initial message that we are going to send for a little political candidate to someone who's already in that group, somebody who's a volunteer grassroots movement. I can send a message to an individual. They share it, 3-4 other people.
Right.
They post it.
So if a political candidate, whether it's a national race or a local race, they come up to you, Dave, and they say, hey, I've heard about Corto Media. I want to start a campaign where I want to push text messages out there. I'm just curious, like, what is the cost for this? I would imagine it depends on the candidate and how many people, the reach, but how does this work, like, financially?
Yeah, so the very basics of it, you have to get vetted. So you carriers, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, they're going to basically want to know who's the candidate. Do you have a website? Do you have a privacy policy? And terms of use, it's going to safeguard the end user from getting the text messages.
Right.
You're going to pay $95 to campaign verify. You're going to pay your $600. $200 goes to each of the 3 carriers, so $600. And then you got text messages. And how many do you want to send? Thousands, hundreds of thousands. You're going to send 1 message a week, 3. So the volume, better volume, lower discounts.
What are we talking about for like a national campaign? Like, can you give me a figure of about, obviously it's impossible to pinpoint it exactly, but how much does that sort of stuff cost to be sending text messages for like a presidential campaign, for example?
If you're doing at that scale, the simplest way to figure it out is you're going to be paying about 3 cents a text because of the volume. And that's a straight SMS text, which is mean I text you and say, hey, Brian, you're going to the game tonight. And that's plain text. Now, if I send you a picture with Biden on there or Kamala Harris, or I send you a link to Facebook or a donation page, that's an MMS. So basically it costs you 3 times more to send that kind of a political message. So now you're paying 9 cents just because of the difference.
Do you think this was one of the big parts of the Barack Obama campaign that might have turned the table?
It was amazing. It was huge. I mean, these are one of those things where you go back, whether it's, for the DNC, RNC, Karl Rove, you look back at what was that pivotal moment that really pushed things over the edge and made a huge splash. I mean, you're reaching people that at the time they weren't thinking about this. It wasn't intended to have the outreach, not just the 2.9 million that received that message. It's all the additional 40 they got delivered from that.
So interesting. If you're just joining us again, Dave Lozano from Corto Media. We're talking about campaign texts. I'm sure we've all received them from time to time. All right, let's talk a little bit about spam. You alluded to it a little bit earlier. Yep. So one of the guys that used to be pretty close to a friend of mine, a poker friend of mine, he was known as the Spam King. His name is sadly he passed away last year, Sanford Wallace, known as Spamford Wallace, the Spam King. It's a crazy story because he had a program where he was sending millions and millions of messages through Facebook spam to users. And every single person that clicked on one of his emails would be, I don't remember the exact figure, but he was making boatloads of money. Mark Zuckerberg sues him for like $800 million, wins. And Sanford actually had to go to federal prison for a few years. And that was the last time I talked to him. And I learned that he had passed away last year, which I was sad to hear, because he wasn't this horrible bad guy, but he was doing some bad things. And I got a chance to know him very well. And he talked to me. This was a guy who developed spam on the internet back in the late 80s. So you want to talk about somebody who was hated by a lot of people. He was certainly one of them. But what do you make of spam, not just when it comes to campaign text, but just spam in general, because this is a trigger for a lot of people.
Oh, it is, without a doubt. It's because, again, on a spam message, you also don't know who the intended recipient is. So you could be sending spams to children.
Right.
And that's why the carriers, at the end of the day, they are still pushing back. There's a $500 fine per text message that is unsolicited. People don't see that side of it, but it takes time to go find who really pushed that message through. But at $500 per text, it's not really worth it.
Right. No, definitely not. And listen, this isn't just about politics. I get spam calls all the time. So let me ask you a funny question here. Make a little levity of this situation. We've all gotten those types of calls, right?
Oh, yes.
If somebody calls me and they're trying to sell me something because I'm an extremely immature person, I mess with them.
Oh, yes.
I mess with them. And I turn the tables on them. For example, there have been times where I've gotten calls from people that are trying to sell me their sports picks. And then I'll say, hey, I got a lock. I got a pick tonight. I'll sell to you. And I just turn the tables on them to see how they respond. And then they get agitated. And I say, what I'm doing to you is exactly what you're doing to me.
Yes.
And that's usually the end of the conversation, and they'll hang up. But this is annoying, right? It's one thing to get, if you're a Democrat and you're on a list, you support Obama, you support Biden, whatever the case may be. And you get, hey, support Joe Biden, he'll be in Vegas, blah, blah. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Correct.
But it's when you get unsolicited calls, medical calls, or, those types of calls, or, any type of sham. That's the stuff that really is bothersome.
Like an Ozempic text.
Exactly.
And you're like, this doesn't even apply to me.
Right.
How did I get on this list?
Right.
Yeah.
It's annoying. So how can people combat it?
So you can, each one of the carriers allows you to forward that message.
Right.
So when it comes in, you'll even see one that says, does this appear like junk? You can forward it, and you can also send it to Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. They take those numbers, and of course they do lock them down. And of course at the end of the day, well, how does this happen? There's millions of phone numbers out there.
Right.
So they grab pools of numbers. They're going to go send millions of texts, shut down the number, and go to the next one and cycle it through. And at some point, those numbers, they may be in lockdown for a year.
Right.
But the carriers do recycle them at some point.
I'll be honest with you, Dave. Ever since I started messing with some of these callers, they don't call me back. So that's good. So I want to talk to you about one of the clients that you represent. You represent all sorts of different people, and you're out of Texas, just so people know, right?
Yes.
There's a group called MAGA, but they are not what you think. believe it or not, I have a lot in common with these MAGAs. They're not Trump supporters. They are, and correct me if I'm wrong, moms against Greg Abbott.
Correct.
This is so unique and it's so awesome. And I can't wait to get these people on the show because I think Greg Abbott is just the worst. MAGA, make Moms Against Greg Abbott. I almost said Make America Great Again. Moms Against Greg Abbott. Tell me about this organization and how you got hooked up with them.
Yeah, so there's through some political candidates. They're based out of Houston, Texas. And they've got a huge following, 50,000 plus active. It's not just, these are people that signed up for something. These are active users on the post, and they're trying to get an awareness of all the events, like some of the items you and I spoke about earlier. What's a track record? What's a history? Real issues, topics that are facing Texas, and how do we make these known and make them available to people so they know that these are not, made up stories. So taking factual events. And that's their goal, is how do we make people aware, make these real topics and issues. So when you go to the voting booth, you're actually sitting there making an informed decision. And that's partly what they've started this push for. And they're growing. So
I look forward to talking to them. Moms Against Greg Abbott, MAGA. I just think that's absolutely brilliant. So regardless of whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, I think we all could agree that these two candidates, Joe Biden and Donald Trump, are old.
Yes.
They're old, right? Most of America does not want to see this. They don't want to see, forget about what your political affiliation is or whether you're pro-Trump or not or pro-Joe Biden. They want to see younger people in office. So that creates a challenge, doesn't it? Because you want to send text messages and you want to get younger people involved, and it is growing. But isn't it more difficult to get younger people involved when you have two people running that are in their late 70s and early 80s?
Yeah, there's definitely a gap. So you can say, let's say the younger generations are disenfranchised, as in they can't make a direct correlation as to, I can really identify with this candidate, because there is, we really are at this age, a lot of difference between a 20-year-old something or where you would have a 50, 60-year-old candidate for president.
Right.
But the beauty of, with the text messaging is they're so engaged with their phone. We call it now the fifth appendage. They don't go anywhere without their phone. So it's how they communicate. It's how they want to be able to receive notifications, whether this is talking to their attorney, medical appointment, doing Uber Eats. It's how they live, and it's how they're expecting to be able to be communicating with their candidates. So I think the gap is definitely going to be shortened, just because the sheer fact that if you're wanting to reach that target market, you're going to have to text them. They're not going to get an email. Email is a 20% open rate. Okay. Text message, 98%. If I send you a text, 98% of your text messages are read, and you're going to see it in 90 seconds versus an email, which is 90 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
So big difference.
And technology has changed so much, by the way. As you know, over the years, there's so many different ways to reach out to different people. It used to be just through the mail.
Yes.
Right. And or leave something on their doorstep. And now you have social media everywhere, whether it be YouTube or TikTok or X. There's so many different ways to reach out to people.
Well, and with using the analytics on texting, which, end users may not understand, that the political candidate's sending a message.
Yeah.
And when they click on those links, whether it's donation or going to a Facebook feed, Instagram, Twitter, we can be able to tell the candidate the exact date, time, hour, and second that text message was read. We can tell you even if all the messages were sent to a candidate in Arizona, if one of their constituents is in New York, we know that's where they opened the message. So we can tell you how many received it, how many of them failed, how many opened, how many of them forwarded. So this is something where, like with a flyer, door knocking, signs, you can't get those analytics. And now you can take that information and people actually respond back in.
Right.
So once they realize there's a two-way chat, it's not just a one-way text, because we have live agents when we're sending our messages. And so when somebody sends back, say, have a question on this candidate, and we're actually responding back, this turns into a full-on conversation.
Right.
That information, the candidate can now take it and say, I've got a new volunteer here, or I have a donor. And so that's useful information that you've not been able to have even in texting 5 years ago.
Right. It's just incredible, you know, where we're at today. I want to give you the opportunity before we let you go here to talk a little bit about your company, Corto Media, and how people can, a little bit about the history of it, how long has been going for, and how people can contact you to learn a little bit more about your company.
Yep, absolutely. So one thing, go to our website, cortomedia.com. If you want to text in, we created a little short keyword for today. You can text 888-808-8398 and just text the PTL, and you'll get a message from us immediately. And it gives you information about our.
And you're not going to get spam.
And you're not going to spam. Yeah, because you're opting in for this
Right.
one. But you get flyers, you can
Right.
get live agents. If you have any questions, we've got people ready to answer.
Very cool and innovative, and certainly, you know, getting the message out to people is not just something you want in politics, but you want in show business, you want in radio, you want in pretty much every single business entity. You want to get your message out to people. You want more people to use your product, or whatever the case may be, or in this case, vote for you.
Exactly.
So it's needed in every entity, from the casino industry to politics to radio to television to anything, right?
Medical, legal,
Yeah.
restaurants.
It's endless.
It's endless.
It's endless. Even the person that we have coming on the show next, who's a professional female sports handicapper. I mean, you want to get the word out, but you want to do it in a way that's not annoying, right?
Correct.
And
Not
you
intrusive.
Guys, exactly. And you guys do it the right way, and I appreciate that about you. Well, Dave, it's been a pleasure talking to you. We actually met at a mutual friend's Halloween party. Jay Bloom, who's done
Yes.
this show multiple times. Jay's a great guy, and I look forward to talking to you again soon, my friend. And I also look forward to meeting some of those clients at the MAGA Moms Against Greg Abbott. I just love that. That's awesome. I look forward to talking to them as well. Dave, thanks so much for coming on, man. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Brian.
it. Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
you.
That's Dave Lozano, everybody, from Corto Media. He'll be back on again down the road, I'm sure. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I got to tell you, the sports entertainment industry, especially sports gambling, for the most part, has been, you know, owned by men. Let's be honest, males. It's a men-driven industry, especially sports gambling. Well, that's beginning to change. I think that's a good thing. The lady that's going to be joining us next from Bet Money Honey, her name is Patty Davidson. We're going to talk to her about how she got into this business. And, oh, yeah, the NBA Finals are tonight, so I'm sure she's going to have some opinions on that as well. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. It's Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Voters want safe gun reform, ban military assault weapons, including AR-15s, have universal background checks, and red flag laws. I am Eva Chase, a candidate for Nevada State Assembly District 16, U.S. Air Force veteran, college graduate, progressive independent candidate, fully transitioned transgender woman, former lieutenant governor candidate for Nevada in 2022, where I received 7,212 votes in the Democratic primary. Follow me on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok. Donate to my campaign bot fund account and stay progressive.
Did you know that 99% of air conditioning issues start with airflow issues? Well, guess what? Pioneer Air has your back. They've been operating for 20 years in the industry within the Las Vegas area, large enough to handle all your air conditioning and heating needs, but small enough to know your first name. Pioneer Air focuses on preventative care, much like wellness checks for humans. They believe in wellness checks for air conditioning and heating systems to extend the life of the system you own. So what are you waiting for? Schedule your wellness check with Pioneer Air today. The number to call is 702-831-4840. Here's the best news. Mention this ad and you'll receive 10% off. Call Pioneer Air today. 702-831-4840. That number again, 702-831-4840.
My name is Hunter Kane, and I'm talking with you for a call to action for our veterans in Clark County. Who is Hunter Kane? Well, I'm a decorated combat veteran, veteran community leader, and candidate for Clark County Commission. You know, no veteran has served on the commission in nearly 30 years, which is why our veteran homelessness, unemployment, and suicide rates are out of control. So here's the call to action. June 11th, vote veteran, vote Kane for Clark County. Let's rally behind someone who's been in the trenches, who knows the sacrifices, and who's committed to making a real difference. Join the campaign by searching Elect Hunter Kane on social media or go to www.electhunterkane.com.
My name is Kola Akimbade. I'm running for mayor of Las Vegas. As mayor, we will offset the off-season by diversifying our economy, bringing technology, high-paying jobs, and strengthening our entertainment industry. In order to tackle this issue of homelessness, we need new money because the budget will never be enough. Therefore, we will legalize prostitution and tax money will flow. Today, go to our website, Kola, K-O-L-A, kolaformayor.com, and my phone number, 725-263-2660. Support our campaign and donate today. Again, kolaformayor.com at 725-263-2660. My name is Kola Akimbade, and I'm running for mayor of Las Vegas.
Tired of the same old date night? Craving a deeper connection with your partner? O-Box is your escape into a world of romance and passion. Each month, discover a box filled with personalized surprises, exciting activities, and a love story written just for the two of you. Ignite desire, share laughter, and make memories that last a lifetime. Your O-Box journey culminates into a beautiful love novel. Ready to write the first thrilling chapter? Let the O-Box adventure begin. Visit our website, obox.com. That's OBOXXX.com and get started.
Nevada is ranked 48 of 50 states in public school efficiency. Hi, I am Progressive Democrat Eva Olivia Chase, the public school candidate. Cynthia Gonzalez voted for $480 million of public money for charter schools and baseball stadiums. Public money for public schools. Vote and support Eva Olivia Chase for Nevada State Assembly District 16.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and food. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
Hey everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us. Programming note for you. We have some great guests lined up next week. The Mooch, Anthony Scaramucci, who is Donald Trump's White House press secretary for, 12 days? He's going to be joining us next week, as well as Congressman Eric Swalwell. He's going to be joining us on the show next week as well. Hunter King going to be in studio tomorrow. So, it's a nice change of pace, because sometimes when you talk about, it drives you crazy. If you talk about what did Joe Biden say today? What did Donald Trump say today? It'll literally drive you crazy. But that's my job. I have to do it, but I like to switch it up once in a while. The NBA Finals are tonight. My Boston Celtics are playing the Dallas Mavericks. And, it's incredible because sports betting was never really talked about. If it was talked about, it was only in Las Vegas, but now it's persuaded upon. Every Major League Baseball ballpark, every NHL game, NBA game, the NFL, you see DraftKings everywhere and sports betting sites everywhere. And it's like, it's pushed on people now, but back, it seems like only 10 years ago, it was like blasphemy. So listen, don't get me wrong. I'm for it. I'm a sports bettor myself and I enjoy it. But for the most part, it has been a male, I guess you could say, how's the best word I could put this? It has been led by men. But the lovely lady we have with us in studio, she is the former female sportsbook manager at the legendary former Stardust Casino. Boy, so many great stories about the Stardust. And she is with Bet Money Honey. Her name is Patty Davidson, and she's a professional sports handicapper. And she joins us in studio on the show. Patty, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Can't thank you enough for having me here. I'm excited about this.
It's a nice change of pace for me too, because talking a little bit about sports betting. First of all, the Stardust in Las Vegas, a historic venue, the sports book, so many legendary people spent some time in there. I hear stories of the Lefty Rosenthals of the world and people way back in the day hanging out at the Stardust. How long were you there for?
I was there for 8 years.
Wow. I mean, that was a really sad day for Vegas, I felt like, when they tore down the Stardust. I was there for the implosion, by the way. It was a sad day, wasn't it?
I think so. But you know what? It's just like when the Tropicana goes down now. It's going to be a sad day. There goes another one. But that's what we do. We blow them up and rebuild.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they do. The bigger corporations, like the end of the movie Casino right now, it's all about the big corporations. But I felt like Stardust had that local feel to it. The tourists would go there, but there were a lot of locals that hung out in that sports book as well. And that's a big job, especially for a female, which is many men in this industry as sportsbook managers. But you were one of the few that started as a female, as a sportsbook manager. That must have been pretty cool for you.
It was pretty cool. I don't think I even realized, at that point what that really meant for women, but it meant a lot, but I was very, 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 very grateful that I had a manager that said, or the owner, or whatever, Scott Shetler, that said, you know what? I don't care that you're a woman. You can do this. You know numbers. You know how to run a crowd. You're okay. You can do this.
I love that. I think that's so cool. And now we get to the point in your life where you are a professional sports handicapper yourself. What made you decide that this was what you wanted to do?
It's a little bit more than just the handicapper part. Yes, we do put out picks just because,
sure,
because people want to know who to bet. But more than anything, they want to know how to bet. Because it's what you just said when you open this up, it's nationwide now. Nationwide, here we go. I can go anywhere. I can have an app on my phone. And if in my state, I can bet a sport, how do I bet? And so that's what we really, really kind of honed in on as a side-by-side. Okay, if you don't know who to bet, we'll tell you maybe today you can go and you can bet this. But know what you're going to win.
And you're right, because there are still a lot of amateurs. Forget about what side you're playing or picking. They don't know how to bet. They don't know what it means to buy points. They don't know what a teaser is, right? They don't know what a total is. I still see people going to the betting window here in Vegas that don't even know how to make a sports bet. They don't know even how to do the very basics. So that's number one, right? Before you learn on who you should bet or how much you should bet, you have to learn how to bet to begin with, right?
That's exactly right. There's a lot of people that won't even go to the window because they're so intimidated,
right?
That I'm going to walk up there and I'm going to say the wrong thing, So, and they think, okay, I'm going to put up $10. I'm going to win $10. Right. No, you're not. You're not going to win $10 if you're at minus $1.80.
You know what's interesting? I was talking to a friend of mine who is a legendary sports bettor. His name is Bill Krakenberger, and he's done this show before, and he's a very honest guy, and he makes a valid point, which is, of all the sports handicappers out there, there's less than 1%, less than maybe 10% of 1% that actually are winning a lot of money for their clients. I mean, this is a very, very competitive and a very difficult business, because you have to be 56 or 57% with the juice to be a winning sports bettor, or is it 54%? I might be off a little bit on this.
Well, you're going to have to be, because even in the new era that we have, of kiosk and everybody's connected by computer and everything, you better even they have changed the VIG so much. So it used to be, okay, I'm going to pay 10% to play.
Right.
Sometimes you're paying 20,
right,
30.
Right.
So yeah, you're going to have to win a lot of games.
It's really difficult. It's a really difficult business. What do you think is, in your opinion, your best sport, or perhaps in general the easiest, I shouldn't say easiest, but the best chance to win money? What sport? What type of betting?
Interesting question, because I have this idea, and I always have, even when I was in the industry itself and working in it, is that you can go and you can study, and what you just said is exactly right. Nobody makes a living off of betting sports unless you've got like 5 people out there betting for you, and you're just
Right.
playing it like a stock market.
Right.
I'm going to lay 2 and I'm going to take 4, and you're hoping that middle in
comes
the
in.
middle will come
Right.
in, or that sidebar will
Right.
come in, but
There are some
other than
people that do that.
And there are.
With
yeah.
the large bankrolls.
There are with
Yeah.
large bankrolls and
Yep.
daily,
Right.
and they do it, so they open and they close. But I just think that sports betting at this point, if you are just a regular person, should be for fun. It should be for fun.
And you know what? It makes watching the game, even if you got $20 on something, it makes watching the game a little bit more enjoyable. But isn't it crazy, Patty? The type of bets you can make now. For example, you could pretty much make a bet on whether Jason Tatum's going to sneeze tonight or not. I mean, there are bets, exotic bets, rebounds, points, assists, over under on how many threes a player will make. I mean, there are literally like 1,000 different bets you could make just on the game tonight on the NBA Finals. It's crazy. It never used to be like this 10, 15 years ago.
Wasn't even close.
Yeah.
But the beauty of that is that because otherwise you got to bet on a team.
Right.
And who do you know who's showing up? Maybe so-and-so, you know what, they got the flu. And so they're showing up and they can't even play today. Not in your playoff stuff. They're probably very healthy. But if I just have a pitcher that I love, think about that in baseball, because you don't like baseball so much. But if I have a pitcher that I love that I think is an up-and-comer and a starter and is a strikeout person, I could bet them for a while because baseball streaks.
Of course.
I could bet them, and just play them. But you could do that kind of stuff. So I don't care about what the rest of the team does.
Right.
I
just
bet
bet the
a
props.
player.
Yeah. Speaking of baseball, I have to ask you this question. It's a very controversial subject. Do you think Ohtani bet? Do you think when he says that he didn't bet and he only, his interpreter stole all the money? I got to be honest with you. I don't believe it. Do you think Ohtani did play some action?
I think that he made the right move by saying he had no idea.
But come on, you don't believe that. Do you believe that? I don't believe him. I really don't.
Yeah.
I think he is baseball. He is the face of baseball. Just like Michael Jordan was back in the day. I feel like Michael Jordan bet on basketball. I feel like he was, and I don't know this for sure, but I've heard from a couple really good sources that Michael Jordan was suspended from the NBA for a year, but David Stern kept it quiet, and that's why he went to baseball, because it was a 1-year suspension for betting on basketball, and Stern did not want to make it public because he's Michael Jordan. He was the face of the league. I feel like the same thing is happening here with Ohtani. I'm not buying it.
And you could be right, but you know what? It's just all conspiracy theory at this point. But again, why wouldn't they? Because if they have somebody like a Michael Jordan or, somebody that's they are trying to revitalize baseball.
Yeah.
Why do they want to get rid of anybody who is a top player?
Right.
They can't do it. They can't afford it.
And listen,
so,
I'm not, to be fair, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you're right. I mean, one could consider that a conspiracy theory. I just think of a betting of upwards of $100 million. And you're telling me that this guy, your right-hand man, who's your interpreter, who's with you every day, and you had absolutely no idea what was going on, that's way too much money to just not know what's going on. And that's why I don't believe it. And I could be wrong. I don't know that for sure. But, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But this is going to hang over Ohtani's head forever, right? People are not going to forget this story. They're not. No matter how many home runs he hits.
I think that people who care are going to forget the story. That's going to be what it is, because we have suspended players and not let them into the Hall of Fame for betting on sports,
Pete
right?
Rose, yeah.
Poor Pete Rose.
Which I disagree. I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. Not even a huge Pete Rose fan, but did he do something wrong? Yes. Come on. The guy's career speaks for itself. He should be in the Hall of Fame. That's my personal opinion. Are you concerned, though, because we just had this NBA player who is now can never play in the NBA ever again because of prop betting, and apparently he knew exactly that he was going to play in the game for 2 or 3 minutes, and then he was going to fake a sickness and leave the game. And we all know what happened there. The NBA and the commissioner did the right thing and said, that's it. You're banned from the NBA for good. This just happened a couple months ago. Are you concerned that more of this stuff could happen?
Well, I think what you're bringing up is a different point, is that, the NBA, how closely are our sports going to be attached to gaming?
Mm-hmm.
That's really the issue here.
Yeah.
Because the NBA all of a sudden has made a rule now is that you can't sit out.
Right.
And so the reason is why? Because it affects the line.
Right.
And so if you know that this person is going to sit out, it's going to affect the line. And then, guess what? Betting is going to be different. That to me is the more issue.
Right.
And so how intertwined are they going to be?
I saw an incredible stat that's like 70% of people that are watching NFL football games, men and women, 70% have some sort of action on the game. It could be illegal action.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a bookie. But 7 out of 10 people that are watching an NFL football game have some sort of wager on the game. I find that to be an incredible statistic.
Well, I think it's become so mainstream. And number one. And number two, it's more fun. That's the bottom line. It's more fun. If I go to a game and I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch a football game today. That'll be great. Maybe I have a favorite team because I'm from Missouri or whatever. But if I don't, how am I going to make it interesting? I don't care if I'm just betting with the person sitting next to me.
But are you worried though of problem gamblers? For example, when you bring kids to a game and, Daddy, what is DraftKings? What is that? I mean, we're at a point now where it is everywhere. Are you worried that there are a lot of people out there that are compulsive that don't know how to stop when it comes to sports betting?
I think that it's just like anything else. That's why, again, on Bet Money Honey, I really just try to tell them that this is here for entertainment. It's like going out to dinner.
Right.
Spend the amount of money that you would to go out to dinner. But other from that, don't go chase your money either.
Right.
Because I always say, don't bet with scared money.
Right.
Because if you're going to lose your rent, it's not going to be good for you. You're probably not going to win, number one.
Agree.
And so you have to do things like that, and you have to moderate. But I mean, it's like overeating. It's like smoking cigarettes. It's like
Right.
drinking alcohol.
We all have our vices.
Yeah.
I hear you on that one. One thing that annoys me, and I know you don't do this, but I've been in Vegas for over 20 years, and I've seen it all. There are some so-called professional sports handicappers that say they have their lock game of the day. They have their lock game of the year. I personally know people, and I personally, sadly, have worked with people in my career that are not professional sports handicappers. They claim there are. They lie about their record. They lie about what they've accomplished, and nothing is verified anywhere. And people believe it, and they're suckers, and they buy into that. Does that bother you in your industry that there are people, and a lot of people out there that are like that?
No, I think there's a lot of people out there in a lot of different industries that are like that, So basically, I've always suspected in the back of my mind that they have one database for this side and one database for that side.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they just send it out to both sides, they're going to win some of them.
Fair enough. What do you consider a true professional sports bettor? A professional sports bettor. What would be your definition of that? Because a lot of people throw out that term very loosely. What would be your definition of that?
The ones that I have known that I truly would respect as them,
Yeah,
they bet every day. They may have a certain sport that they bet better than others,
Mhm.
so they may concentrate on that, but they treat it like a stock market. They really do. It's like a stock market. They would go in every day and they would make their own lines. So no matter what the book puts up, they already have their own lines.
Interesting.
And so once I have my own line and I see that, okay, the book put it up, tonight that it's going to be -5, but I had it at -10 or I had it at -1, then I would go and bet my bet. And then I would do that. But I would also, during the day, I'd be watching the movement. So if my line that I bought in at -1 moved up to maybe 4, I'd be taking my money back because I wouldn't be taking a chance. But man, if that number falls, it's a numbers game at that point. That's what a professional sports bettor does.
Interesting. I like that. I've heard that before, and I really like that. There are situations where books make mistakes. Now, I'm not talking about a mistake where maybe the line should have been here and they got it off by a couple points. I'm talking about blatant mistakes where a game goes off and the line is still up there and you can still bet it. Or on the app, I'll look on the app and I'll say, well, wait a second, that game's already started, but they still have the line up there. And I'm not talking about like an in-game bet. I'm talking about they made a mistake. Or wait a second, that tennis match already started, but they still have that up there. Did you ever see that in your years at the Stardust? And how often do you see something like that happen today in 2024?
Well, it's not going to happen so much today because they got a lockdown mechanism because they're all computer based.
Right.
But used to be is that basically you had handwritten. And so, supposedly it was time stamped, supposedly not. Oh no, 10 seconds later, whatever. But I mean, it's a game. Everybody's going to look a way to game the system along with it. And so, but even the books look for a way to game the system. They all say, "Oh yeah, you can bet in play, no problem, bet in play." But guess what? I can never get my bet down.
Right. We live in a different era now, right? When you were at the Stardust, where that now somebody could walk with a pile of $1 million cash, and most books, not all, but most books will take that sort of crazy bet, especially if it's the Super Bowl or a big game. So, but my question to you is, even though the Stardust was open many years ago, what was the biggest bet you ever saw? Do you have any crazy stories of somebody just showing up with a suitcase filled with $100 bills?
Absolutely.
Like, give me like a story. What story?
Well, because we did, and usually it would be like a game like a Super Bowl or something like that. And why was it? Oh, guess what? There was no banking regulation at that point. And so they could just come in with all their cash and say, okay, here it is, and then they could run down the street and go bet at the Santa Anita or, or Gary Austin's, and they could put it on the other side. And they only paid was 10% to launder their money.
Wow. Wow, that's interesting. So back in the day, that doesn't really happen much today, but back in the day, you would have quote unquote gangsters or some people that were laundering money, whatever the case may be. Did you know who any of these people were?
Those kind usually you don't. Your
Yeah.
regulars are your regulars. They're every day. There's those people that have compulsive issues.
Sure.
You know,
So you're telling
that's
me
what
though
they're
a guy
doing.
would show up with what, a couple $100,000 or what kind
Oh,
of
at least I'm serious when I
$500,000?
say suitcase full.
So
Yeah.
a guy would show up for $500,000. He'd bet on a game at -110. And what that means for people out there listening, bet $110 to win 100. That's that 10% juice. So he'd be willing to put up $500,000, and the juice is 50,000, right? And go across the street or somewhere else and put up another $500,000 the other way. He's literally losing $50,000 just to launder $1 million.
Exactly.
Basically.
That's right.
Wow.
And that's why all those banking regulations came into play.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. Just now they get clean money.
That is that's crazy that was happening at that magnitude. I didn't realize that. Wow, that's absolutely unbelievable. All right, let's talk a little sports, shall we? We talked a little bit about the industry.
Talk a little bit.
Let's talk a little NBA Finals. All right, I grew up a Boston Celtics fan, but I grew up my love for basketball during the era of like Larry Bird, the late 80s, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, those great Lakers-Celtics rivalry. But I got to tell you, Patty, I'm really excited about the game tonight. I'm really excited about the series because it has all the elements you want. You've got Luka Doncic, who is just an unbelievable basketball player, a little bit of a crybaby, but an unbelievable basketball player. Kyrie Irving, who I think is maybe not the brightest bulb in the world. He thinks the earth is flat, but he's an unbelievable basketball player. I don't like him because for a number of reasons, but I don't like what he did to my Celtics, and I know Boston fans don't like him. That's another storyline here. This is personal to Kyrie Irving. This is personal to Boston Celtic fans. And then you have the Boston Celtics, right? Tatum, Jaylen Brown. These are guys that have been there before. They were literally, in my opinion, 5 minutes away from being NBA champions. Now, I know they were only going to go up 3-1 on the Golden State Warriors a couple of years ago, but they were 5 minutes away from going up 3-1 in that series, and they ended up losing the series 4-2. So I feel like the Celtics they've been there before. They're ready. Luka, Kyrie, I mean, you couldn't find a guy who I think would take this series more personal than Kyrie Irving. Great players in this series. Great players. And I have a lot of respect for both coaches. What do you make of this series, the storylines that I just talked about, and the series in general?
Well, this is going to go back to my way of betting things, right? Because I think that, because people get very enthused about who they love, and
Right.
that's how you should bet. You should bet it that way.
Mhm.
And then they try to say, okay, well, this is the reason because these things are all coming together for them. Oh, but it's professional sports. On any given day, one team could beat another.
Right.
Number one. Number two, Dallas Mavericks, oh my God, they were looked at the underdog coming into this whole thing.
Correct.
Oh, we have injuries. Oh, we're never going to
Right.
make it through. It's impossible for us. And then a little hometown. Guess what? They have 3 players from Vegas.
They do.
So
You're absolutely right about that. Yeah, and a lot of local ties there. There's no question about it. I think this is going to be a very competitive series. If you look at the Boston Celtics and the odds, I think depending on where you go, they're at least a 2-1 favorite, I think, to win the series. Depending on where you go, -220, -230. That's about where I would put it.
we wish we would have bet them in the very beginning of the season.
Well, I can tell you this. I'm not a professional sports handicapper, but this is verified. I did say before the season started, Numchuck, I think you could back me on this one, that the Boston Celtics were going to win the NBA championship. And I didn't say that last year. I didn't say that the year before. I'm not saying it because I'm a Celtics fan. I'm saying it because I feel like it's their time. Sometimes I just feel like it's your time. I think the NBA is very different than the NHL or Major League Baseball. The best team doesn't always win. Certainly not in Major League Baseball. It almost always seems to work out that way in the NBA. The Denver Nuggets all year last year were the team to beat. This year, the entire year, it's been the Boston Celtics. I'm not saying they're a lock to win. I'm just saying that I don't think Luka is going to have an easy time scoring like he has in the last 3 series. Boston Celtics are really good defensively. My concern is Kyrie Irving. He can go off at any moment. He's unbelievable. I think the Celtics have a better bench. I don't think Dallas's bench is as good as Boston. I think that's going to play into this as well. I think it's going to go 7. I think this is going to be a 7-game series, and I think the Boston Celtics are going to win Game 7 in Boston.
Well, it sounds like you and I should have a side bet on this.
Maybe. I'm really. You think Dallas is going to win?
I think that's who I'm going to root for. So Why not?
Well,
Why not
Rudy,
make it a little more interesting?
we could do that. I would be totally. We can do a dinner on this or something.
Okay, that'll work.
I'm totally okay with that. We can do steak dinner somewhere. I think the Celtics win the series. I do.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong. I'm not saying it's going to be lopsided series. I think it's going to be very competitive.
Mhm.
Usually, the team that wins game one is the team that wins the series. Not all the time, but I think the Celtics need to assert themselves today. Like I said, my biggest concern is Kyrie Irving, not Luka Doncic. I just think Kyrie, it's personal for him. The level, I'll be honest with you, I didn't think the Kyrie, Luka Doncic, I didn't think it would work together. I thought the egos would collide. I'm very impressed with the way they've played. I'm very impressed with the chemistry and with their coaching staff. They've done a phenomenal job. That is a concern to me also, which is coaching. The Celtics have a pretty darn good head coach. He's been doing a good job, but he's never been in this situation before. I'm worried. I'm a little bit worried. So I look at this scenario, and I think we're going to learn a lot tonight. I think if Dallas wins game one, then the Celtics are going to have a lot of pressure on them in game two. I think this is probably a more important game for Boston than Dallas. I think they need to defend their home floor and get, Brown has been playing at the best basketball of his life. Jaylen Brown's been unbelievable. He's taken some pressure off of Jason Tatum. When I look at the final 3 or 4 minutes of the most important games of Tatum's career, he's disappeared. I feel like he's ready now. So I think that's going to be another storyline here. I think Tatum's going to hit some big shots for them. Porzingis, is he healthy? I believe he's playing today. Is he not? Am I wrong on that? I thought Porzingis was playing today. Is he playing today?
Yeah, I believe he is.
I believe he is as well. I think one of the best two-way players in basketball is Drew Holiday. I think when the Celtics picked him up last year, that's when I said they're going to win the NBA championship. Drew Holiday is, to me, the prolific defender in the NBA, and he is a really good offensive player. And he's not a guy that's going to score 40, but he's a guy that's going to make his mark in a game. He's capable of scoring 20, 25. But, the steals at the end of the game, in the last series and the defensive plays that he's made, I think just Drew Holiday is the glue that keeps this team together. So those are my reasons. I'm not trying to talk you out of it, but those are my reasons why I think ultimately the Boston Celtics are going to be the NBA champions tonight. But I do miss the NBA back in the 80s. I just feel like it was more physical. What do you make of a guy like a LeBron James? Do you think he's like a top 5 player?
Well, in this day and age, yes, of course he is. But he's no different than a Larry Bird. I know exactly the era you're talking about.
Right.
I mean, they just
short
ruled all of it. Yes, and Lakers, between them and the Lakers, I mean, they were the teams to watch. They just were, but things change. And no, how can you say somebody that is so intimidating and so consistent, when they have a bad game, everybody goes, oh my God, they have a bad game. But look at their overall career.
Well, there's no question that, I watched LeBron play here in Vegas. I was sitting on the court watching him play in a game that actually meant something. And what I was amazed with LeBron is his physical stature at his age, the physical condition that he is in, how fast he is at his age, almost 40 years old. That's what amazed me. But as the season progressed, his game progressed, and his age, I think, caught up to him, particularly in the playoffs. There's a rumor going, it's not really a rumor now. We are learning that the UConn Huskies head basketball coach, it's where I'm from now, Connecticut. I love Dan Hurley. I just love Dan Hurley. I got a chance to meet him for the first time 6-7 years ago, and when I was in Connecticut, and not a big fan as his brother Bobby, but I just think what Danny Hurley has done with UConn, he's such a fabulous college basketball coach. Now we're learning the Lakers have reached out to him, and they're offering him, or at least going to offer him, a mega deal if they haven't already. What do you think he does?
I think that again, this always goes back to, and this is a constant conversation you have. College is so different from pro. It's so completely different. It doesn't matter if you're coming in as a player, if you're coming in as a coach, it doesn't matter. I think that, there are so many people like you that are so excited that he is going to the Lakers. And I think they sealed their deal already. But I do believe that will be true. But let's see how he transitions. Because even sometimes a quarterback will not make it. Even Caitlin Clark, they're beating her up, you know?
They are.
And so little things like that, because it is a big transition. They make them come in, they either make them prove themselves, and they either make it or they don't.
So I'm going to give you my prediction. Is it official yet? No, it's not official yet. I think he'll take the job because the money's going to be out. Not that he's not making good money at UConn, but what else can you accomplish there? The guy won 2 national championships back to back. I don't think it's going to work out. I look at a guy like a Rick Pitino. Lon Kruger. There's a lot, Billy Donovan. There's so many really good college. I shouldn't say really good, great. And I think Danny Hurley has solidified himself in that category. He's great. Doesn't work out in the NBA. I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Ego is one of them. Dan Hurley, if anybody could do it, it's probably Dan Hurley. But I just think it's more about managing egos than it is about X's and O's. And I think the Lakers are making a mistake. I think they've made a lot of mistakes. I think so long as you have somebody like LeBron James there, who really is the head basketball coach, doesn't matter who you have. I don't think their roster is good enough. They're getting older. They're not getting younger. But if Dan Hurley takes this job, I don't blame him. He's earned it. He's doing it for the money. It's probably going to be $100 million. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like $100 million, 10-year contract or something like what the Raiders did here with John Gruden. That didn't end up very well. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to make that transition, right? From, as you said, to college to the NBA and be successful at both. Not many can do it.
Well, it's a college for many professional sports because the politics are so different.
Right.
The decision making is so different. They probably have weekly meetings. They have to go to answer to all these big money people. Whoever it is. Whereas in college, you're in a small speedboat. You can do whatever you need to do, and you're used to it. And
exactly.
so, but you never know.
We'll see. It'll be interesting. I think J.J. Redick would have been a better fit for them, but we'll wait and see what happens here. So I know you dabble in a lot of other sports. You're a big baseball girl. I know that. NHL, do you have any opinion on the Stanley Cup Finals?
I really don't on Stanley Cup so much because, again, I'm a Vegas girl. Man, where are the Knights? Come on.
Well, they
It's
lost
so
they lost to a really good team.
They did,
And
but that's
I was talking to Logan Thompson at an Aces game a few weeks ago, and he said Dallas was the best team he ever faced. And
Yeah.
it was Game 7. It came down to one
It
or
did.
two goals.
They made a good showing.
It's amazing what the Knights have accomplished.
So what are we going to talk about today? Oh, we get to go to the Belmont. There we go.
The Belmont. It's funny. I've never been to Del Mar. I've always wanted to go to like a
it's
beautiful,
beautiful.
horse track. It really is beautiful, and I love horses. And growing up, I used to remember the sport highlight.
Oh,
Used
yes,
to watch.
I
Used
do.
to watch highlight at Milford, Connecticut, and I've been to a few dog tracks, but I've always wanted to go to Del Mar. Maybe if you lose the bet, maybe then you could take me to Del Mar. Maybe
Okay, deal.
Yeah, there you go. Deal.
Because
What
I
do
haven't been there for way too
What do
long.
I have to do
too.
for you though?
Ooh, let me think
We'll
about
have
that.
to. We'll have to think about that.
think
But
about that
I've always
one.
wanted to go to Del Mar. That's always been my former college golf coach, D. Wayne Lucas's brother, John Lucas, very famous horse owner, and he would always talk to me about horse betting and stuff. And I was like a dumb 18, 19-year-old kid. Some would argue I'm still a dumb 18, 19-year-old kid, but that's another story for another show. But anyway, he would always say, Brian, if you really want to win in horse betting, here's what you do. Just bet the favorite to show every time. And I'm like, really? It's that simple?
Win place show. Just put it across the board.
Yeah.
It
Do you
probably
bet
is
horses
true.
a lot or?
Not a lot. A
little bit?
I always love playoff games, and so like, what are we on? We're in Triple Crown now, so this could be the third one of the Triple Crown.
It's a beautiful sport to watch.
And it is.
And there's just an elegance about it when
There
you go
is.
to the track and you smell the racetrack and it's fun. You don't have to bet a lot of money just to enjoy it and sit there and enjoy the ambiance of it.
Mhm.
I mean, I do say that about Major League Baseball, whereas, listen, I've gone to Dodgers games, I've gone to Yankees games, I grew up a Boston Red Sox fan. Just going, sitting and walking around the Green Monster and being around, the ambiance of Major League Baseball is super cool. With my ADD, I like a little bit more offense, but it is fun to watch. Who's your favorite baseball team?
Well, I was born in Missouri, so of course it's going to have to be the Cardinals, and at least they still have the Cardinals. They lost everything else, but at least
You're a
they
big
have that.
Mark McGwire fan for years?
Well, I'm just a big Cardinals fan.
Big Cardinals fan. Understandable. What do you think is the team to beat this year in Major League Baseball?
Oh my goodness, that would be tough for me to say. I'm not exactly sure.
There's a lot of
So,
good teams out there, and it's still early. Usually pitching dominates, but it seems like lately it's a lot of offense out there.
Well, it is a lot of offense because that's why they changed their rules this year.
Right.
So that they could have offense
Do
because
you-
the game was boring.
Well, yeah, to some people feel that way. Do you
Yeah.
agree with like the pitch clock? What do you think about that?
I think they're working it out, and I think it's starting to work a little bit, so it's okay. But I honestly, the little things, I like that they can't shift anymore. I like that they have bigger bags because what is more fun than steals, right? and those things all come into play because it makes the game more exciting.
I agree with you, but here's what drives me crazy. Every umpire has a different strike zone. Why not just make it electronic? I'm not saying you can't have an umpire behind the plate, but why not just make it electronic to take all the guesswork out of it? I think it's unfair to the hitter. It's unfair to the pitcher. And I know what these baseball historians will say, oh, listen, come on, man. In tennis, we don't have anybody saying out or in anymore. It's all electronic. The players seem to like it. The fans seem to like it. I just think players and pitchers and historians will adapt. It drives me nuts when the umpire, calls a strike that's a foot out of the zone. It drives me crazy.
Well, I don't know. Now you mean I'm not going to have Pete Rose throwing his hat down and taking a bat out there anymore?
You can't anymore. You can't anymore. No, but I mean, every umpire has a different strike zone. It drives me crazy. I mean, I don't know. It's not like basketball where there's a lot of fouls that are called where one official can call it one way. That's different. And listen, NBA's adapted to that. There's challenges now. They tried that in minor league baseball, I think, for the first few weeks of the season, where a pitcher or you can challenge a called ball or strike. Why not do that in Major League Baseball then?
Well, maybe it's upcoming. They're changing their rules. They're trying to make it more interesting. So.
I like that. I'll be honest with you. I really like that. Why is it at this point that a company like a DraftKings is not legal in the state of Nevada?
I think they're coming in. That's what I've heard rumor.
Is it competition with the casinos? The sportsbooks are afraid.
No.
They're gonna. Why is it then? How could that not be legalized?
Well, quite honestly, like I'm saying, I believe they are. They're coming in. But DraftKings, you have to understand, they're the ones that really, really were the proponents of getting this nationwide. Because what did they first go into other states with? Fantasy games. And once they got the fantasy games on board, they said, well, hey, they're already betting money. Why can't we now let them bet regular games?
Right.
And so they were the leaders in getting it into other states. And so now maybe they just said, well, we're already over here making so much money. Why do we even want to come and with William Hill and BetMGM and whatever?
Right.
But I do believe that I've heard they're coming in now. So
what do you think of like all these phone apps, betting on your phone, which is still fairly new. They've only been doing it for 8-9 years. What do you make of all these phone apps where you can place bets right on your phone?
Well, I think it's a very convenience factor because I don't have time to go and hang out the book, 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day, or do whatever. So it's extremely convenient. So it's going to pump up the industry for sure.
Yeah.
I know, but people are probably going to go, oh, well, you're making it too easy. People are going to lose too much money. Well,
nobody's
but at
forcing
least,
you to do it.
That's it. And if I walk into, some place and go meet my friends or something, and they're like, oh, the game's on. Okay, well, let me put a little bit on the game,
Right,
so now
right,
I can
of
watch
course.
the game, so why not?
It is very convenient. You don't have to wait in line. You have an entire sports book at your fingertips, which could be dangerous to some, but it is certainly a lot of fun. What is your favorite sport to bet on? Is it baseball?
Playoffs.
Any sport playoffs?
Any sport playoffs, because I think that's when they really come to play.
I agree with you. I think it's easier to pick when you're betting on anything where there's a lot more on the table. Like I'll be honest with you, I'm a huge basketball fan, but I don't think the regular season NBA product is very good. What do you make of the Aces? What do you make of the WNBA?
I think that it's unbelievable what they have done, over the past, really, it's only been a year, 1 year, 2 at the most. And look at this sellout game last night, sellout game for our Aces.
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought a women's basketball team? I remember talking to people 3 years ago. They go, I don't want to watch women play basketball. Well, you do now because they're selling out tickets. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I think what I'm trying to understand is why the league is losing money. And I hear a lot of different reasons for that. You're right. The Aces are an organization that's making money, but they're also the back-to-back WNBA champions. My concern is after this Caitlin Clark. Listen, Caitlin Clark's a great player. She's going to have a Hall of Fame career. She seems like a good person, and she's a lot of fun to watch. But this will die down a little bit, and that's my worry. If it does next year, are they going to be able to sustain this type of excitement around the WNBA? We saw it in college, and she's playing on a team that's a very poor basketball team. Indiana's a really bad basketball team. It's not her fault. They just don't have the talent. And then you have the attacks on Caitlin Clark, the physical attacks on her on the court, the verbal attacks. What do you make of that?
Maybe they're just trying to haze her. Maybe they're just trying to, bring her in because I think, unfortunately for her, she came in with such a high profile, and other people, just felt like, well, who's this person coming in? We never came in that way because probably everybody that's already in the WNBA is already said, man, we had to put in time. We had to put in this. We weren't like bought in and going, oh, you're the golden child.
Right.
And so maybe they're just taking her down a notch.
I think she's tough. She'll be fine. I do think it's a disgrace, those that are saying negative things about her when many of these women are on charter flights because of her. And I know a lot of people don't want to make the argument like the Angel Reese as well. It's just not about her. No, in this aspect, it kind of is. Angel Reese, you're a good basketball player, but these sellouts at Indiana games are not because of you. They're because of Caitlin Clark. And when you just look at the statistics between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, they're not comparable. And so, yeah, I do think this is Caitlin Clark. She's helped Angel Reese a lot. Angel Reese is a really, really good player.
Mhm.
She's a national champion. Nobody can take that away from her.
Yep.
But I just think getting up and clapping when one of your teammates physically assaults her on the floor is a very, very bad look.
I think between the two of them, I think they have a little bit of history.
They do. They do have history. They do have history. It's good for women's basketball. When people are talking about the WNBA, it's good for women's basketball. The Aces are a wonderful organization. Mark Davis, I wouldn't say the same with what he's done with the Raiders. What he's done with the Aces is unbelievable. Becky Hammond is a fantastic coach. They are wonderful people. Asia Wilson is a fun player to watch. She's got a wonderful family. These are really good people, and they're fun people to watch. And I support the Aces. I go to as many games as I can. They're a lot of fun. I want an NBA team here now.
I know. It's coming down. It's coming down the pipeline. We are going to get one
Yes,
eventually.
soon enough, yes.
But I think with the WNBA, I think there's reasons that it's going to be okay. Is because people we raise our sons because there's a possibility you could do it. Like most of them aren't going to, but now we can raise our daughters with the same hope.
I think it's great. I think it's great to bring your kids to games. It's a great environment, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it, and make money. Make money. I hope the league makes money. I'm rooting for the league to make money. Patty, before we go here, this segment's gone by quick. At Bet Money Honey, how can people learn a little bit more about you? How can people sign up for your service? Tell me a little bit more about it, and where do people go?
I think the easiest is just do the old-fashioned way and go to my website, betmoneyhoney.com. Patty Davidson. From there you can find my YouTube stuff. You can find all of my social media. Because I have a lot of videos. A lot of them are about teaching how to bet, because that's kind of been my target. Along with it is, even though there are a lot of men that don't know how to bet, there are many women that don't, and they are so intimidated by it, because if they go and ask a guy, you're like, well, how do I bet? What do you mean you don't know what a point spread is? That kind of stuff. And so just break it down like that.
BetMoneyHoney.com. By the way, there's a lot of men that don't know how to do a lot of different things, and women help us with a lot of different things in life, and we're very thankful for that. At least I am. Patty, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see who's right on this Boston Celtics Dallas Mavericks series, but look forward to having you back in again. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
it.
me.
Thank you so much. It's Patty Davidson, everybody. Check her out, betmoneyhoney.com. Hey, I have a website out too. The same people who helped you with your website are the same people that have helped me with mine. It's pushingthelimits.live. Pushingthelimits.live. Check that out. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Have a great day, everybody.